Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. It is 5:55 and I've made my breakfast. I've worked out, I've showered, and now as I eat my breakfast for the next 30-ish minutes, I'm going to write my morning pages. If you are unfamiliar with morning pages, they are a tool where you ultimately are just writing, stream of consciousness writing. It's detailed in this book. It is 5:46 and on Wednesdays I have a pretty early, my first meeting is at 6 versus 6:30. And I know that doesn't sound like a huge difference, but 30 minutes is a big difference. Try and get to my desk a little earlier. I'm going to try and do a little bit of reading. I've been trying to read this book for like the past few days, but the day just gets away and I don't have an opportunity to do it. So I'm going to do that. After the meeting, I run a meeting. So I need to prepare for that meeting. So this is like a free chunk of time I have before it's like meetings, then I have to do some work and then meetings again.
I've been trying to sneak in small snippets of time to do things for myself, even if that means 15 minutes of reading in the morning before my meetings get started. Being remote comes with its own set of challenges, especially when my team is in New York and I'm based in the West Coast. Firstly, there's a time zone difference, but thankfully I've been able to adjust to this by just shifting my day earlier. Thankfully, we still do have a lot of our meetings over Zoom, so that's a benefit. In terms of staying connected with the team, I do my best to have one-on-ones with different team members so I can learn about what they're working on, and this is also beneficial because if I end up working on something similar or our work crosses, I know who to reach out to for whatever help or insight I might need. So at this point it is 9:39 and I've had my morning meetings for the day. The morning tends to be packed mainly because I work on the West Coast and my team works on the East Coast, and we also have a team overseas in Bangalore, India. So that's kind of the time where all of our regions are able to overlap. So morning from like 6:30 to like 9:10 is usually pretty packed with meetings. And then after that, I will have a stint of time to work on any of my tasks from programming or any one-on-one meetings or learning, getting help on anything that I might need. That usually happens after that chunk of time in the morning. So I'm going to get to some of that. So I do work in finance, and the tech stack that we largely use is Java on Spring Boot with MongoDB, as well as Kafka, and there are other proprietary technologies that we use as well that I clearly am not going to get into, but for the most part, that's the tech stack at work. Outside of work, I still use a similar tech stack, but that's when I'm doing like traditional development. I'd say that for my no-code technologies, I think that Glide is probably the simplest and most powerful tool of the no-code tools out there. Lunchtime for me varies. I would love to say that I like to take a complete hour break every day and eat my lunch and do something fun like watch Vanessa Lau's latest video, but that's not always the case. Sometimes I do work through my lunch, but if I have the opportunity, I will do something other than work for 45 minutes to an hour when possible. After lunch, it's usually around 2 o'clock, and remember, I've been logged in since 6 a.m. and I work East Coast hours. So around this time, I will typically work for a couple of more hours coding. Maybe I have a later meeting. I'll take this opportunity also to do like a learning session, I call it. So anything that was talked about during the day that maybe I don't understand or I don't know, I'll take this time to kind of deep dive into that. and I'll typically work until 4 or 5 sometimes. Sometimes I get to finish a little earlier, sometimes it's a little bit later. It fully depends on what I'm currently working on and the progress that I'm making. This will usually take me into dinner prep time. I like to just make baked salmon because it's super easy. Anything I make during the week, I like for it to be quick and not take a lot of time. So I make picadillo a lot, or even roast. Basically, you season the meat and you can put it in a slow cooker or in the oven. And what I'll do to change up my scenery is, as it's cooking, I'll bring my laptop downstairs and continue with other tasks, and sometimes also have like a little snack because I'm starving by this point. One last thing before you go, I wanted to address something that often comes up in the life videos, which is the need to always be productive. I think it's important to remember that productivity isn't everything. I cherish the time spent with my family and friends, and sometimes a good bed rot is needed. I'm not always great at balancing work and life, but I try to remember to stop and smell the roses. We're always going to be chasing the next thing in our careers or businesses, but in the process, life is happening. So don't miss it.